Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to sit down and do a 6-month postpartum check-in. I realized that I didn't do one. I was looking back and I didn't get to sit down with you guys. I'm actually almost 8 months postpartum, which is bananas. The time has absolutely flown, but there have been some huge milestones happening. I finished pumping, which is crazy, and I really feel like the whole postpartum chapter in my body, at least, has really come to an end. And so I wanted to sit down and just kind of talk about that a bit. So let's jump right into it. The first thing I'll talk about is pumping, because I've had a few questions. And yes, I am done pumping. The day that Theodore turned 7 months, or I think it was the day after he turned 7 months, I stopped pumping. And I think breastfeeding, pumping, formula feeding, all that stuff is such a personal decision. And you guys know I had such a hard time this go around, and I had such a hard time with Hugo. Each of those breastfeeding, pumping journeys have been really, really difficult, mentally and physically. And so when Theodore turned 7 months, I was ready. I was so ready. And we had started supplementing with him and started giving him formula, and so the transition to just complete formula was not that difficult. I had weaned down to about 2 pumping sessions a day, and there was a day where we were just like really busy and running around a lot, and I had realized that, like, oh wow, I have gone 24 hours without pumping and my boobs don't feel like completely engorged, and it doesn't feel like maybe now I should take the chance and just stop. And I didn't announce it. I didn't say anything to anybody, because it is a very personal thing. And I did feel like, even though I hated pumping, I hated it. Even though I hated pumping, I still feel sad about it. And it still felt like, wow, like this chapter of being pregnant and giving birth to Theodore and nursing, like all of that was coming to an end. And so I just like slowly let it happen. I did end up pumping once after I made that decision, because my boobs were so engorged and it was so uncomfortable. But after that, I like naturally, it just like the milk just went away. And yeah, I still feel a little bit sad when I think about it, obviously, because it's such a huge thing and such a huge milestone. But I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And someone had even commented, I had mentioned briefly in like one of my vlogs that I was done pumping, and someone said like, oh, you just seem so much happier. And I'm so much happier. It just makes me feel so good, like knowing that he's fine, and we've started him on solids, and so like he's completely well fed, and it feels better in my body. I will also say hormonally, okay, so from 6 months to now, like almost 8 months postpartum, my hormones were bananas. They were all over the place, and not in the like, I don't know, when I'm pregnant and my hormones are all over the place, there's something about it, for me at least, that just seems a little more manageable. Like I can handle the crying or the feeling annoyed or, you know, feeling overly sensitive, like all of that, it seems manageable. There was something in the past 2 months. Now granted, we've been going through a lot, just like personally and privately, and so I wasn't sure if it was that, but I did, like, there was something about these past 2 months where I was like, hormonally, I really feel a little out of whack. I really feel like hormonally things are just getting to be a little bit unmanageable, and it was making me feel a little bit nervous. I was feeling very anxious, like really, really anxious. It was a huge decision, like that was a huge part of my decision to stop pumping too, because I was like, I'm just feeling like my hormones are all over the place. And so I've noticed since I stopped pumping, and I think it's been now like, I guess almost a month, because I'm almost 8 months postpartum, I've just been feeling so much better. Like so much better. I feel like my mind is clear. I feel like I'm just myself again. Like, wow, I'm just myself. Something that has also happened since I stopped pumping was like my body has just shrunk back to my like pre-pregnancy size. I don't have a scale, so I don't know like exactly if it's pre-pregnancy, but I can just tell like my hips have shrunk completely back to like how they were before. My legs have shrunk, my body, my boobs obviously have shrunk back, my nipples have shrunk back to their like before pregnancy size. And like it's kind of miraculous and incredible to see. I think it's so cool that like my body just accommodates a baby and will grow and expand like how it needs to. But I was so ready to just like feel comfortable in my body again, and I completely felt that. Like the second I stopped pumping, it was like everything just released. And I know that for some women, breastfeeding and pumping makes them lose weight. They burn a whole lot of calories and like can never keep up, and they need to eat more. That has never been the case for me. If anything, while I'm breastfeeding or pumping, my body just holds on to everything, which is fine, but I just felt ready to release all of it. Like I felt ready to just feel comfortable in my skin again, and I totally do. So all of that is really, really positive and exciting. I have an appointment with my OB in a month. It's just like a regular checkup, and so I'll find out then like how much I weigh and yada yada, but I just feel good. Like I feel good in my body, and it's so great, especially like when you spend a year. And like pregnancy is wonderful, and like I friggin' love being pregnant, I do, but it's hard on your body. And I will be the first person to say that like my body gets really big when I'm pregnant and really heavy, and so it just feels good to like feel like myself, you know? It feels good. The other huge postpartum update is that I got my period back. Oh my goodness, I got my period back. She is back. So right after I stopped pumping, I would say not right after, like a week and a half after I stopped pumping, I got my period. So that was exciting. I love keeping track. I am back to my Ovia app, my Ovia fertility app, which is the app that I use to track my ovulation and stuff. I'm back to using it. I think even if you're not planning on getting pregnant right away, just tracking everything to like know your cycle is great. And especially after having just been pregnant and giving birth and stuff, it's good to just be familiar with what's going on in your body. So yeah, I'm back to tracking, which is exciting. And what else? Like everything else postpartum wise has been really great. My C-section scar looks really good. It still feels tender, and I still have that like little bit of like that little numbness. Remember I mentioned there's like that band right across my C-section scar was feeling like a little numb and tingly. I still have that a little bit. It's definitely better than it was a few months ago. Sorry, I'm touching it. It's still there a little bit. It still feels like a little numb and tingly, and my OB had said like it's because we cut through nerves and that's normal. And some people that they have that feeling for, oh my gosh, animal control. Some people have that feeling for the rest of their lives, and other people get feeling back, and like it just sort of depends on your body. It's certainly better. It's not as bad as it was, but I still have it, and my the C-section scar still feels a little tender. But I will say that my scar, like the scar itself, looks stunning. It looks gorgeous. It's so small, it's so short too, like it's not very long. It's beautiful, and I couldn't be happier with it. And it's so low. It's so low. I can't show it to you because it's so low. It's so low. But everything healing wise has been great, like so great. And especially in comparison to the 4th degree tear, which I'll just mention quickly. If you didn't know, with my son, my first son Hugo, I had a 4th degree tear and a rectal tear. That recovery was horrible. Luckily though, in terms of like in regards to long-term recovery, I've been fine, and I haven't had any like horrible side effects, or everything healed up great. But I'm so happy that the C-section scar like is as easy as it was, and that in comparison to that, the recovery from the C-section was so much quicker and faster and easier. So yay. I don't think I have much of a diastasis left, but I haven't really been doing any abdominal exercises. So I can't really talk to that too much. And yeah, I just feel really happy. I feel really happy. I'm really, like, in looking back on this whole postpartum journey, I think I had an easier go of it than I did with Hugo. I felt more confident, even though we struggled with feeding and pumping was not ideal. not fun. I still think I had an easier go of it this time around than with Hugo. And yeah, feeling good, and I'm excited to just like journey forward, and we'll see what the future brings. So I will show you my belly. Let me show you my belly. I can do a little bit. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, things are looking pretty normal. I've noticed, especially like just this whole region like has shrunk down considerably. My hips have shrunk down a lot, and yeah, I feel like that line is still like super, it's super faint. I don't know if you can see, but it's still there. But yeah, feeling pretty good postpartum, which is great, which is really, really nice. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.